Hello, quick video. I'm back with my Bam40. I just noticed when I was tightening up the stock on the Bam40 yesterday, the stock screw was just turning and turning and turning. Sorry, not yesterday, this was last week. And I noticed that the stock screw bracket, the bit that goes on here, on the gun, the holes are actually elongated and they're worn away, so I can put the screws in and they just turn and turn and turn. They don't grip. So I ordered myself a new bracket, which I'm going to swap over. So I'm going to take the gun apart and swap that over. And I've decided as well, while I've got the gun apart, that I'm going to change the breech seal. Now you can't get breech seals for the Bam40s because they're quite an unusual gun, obviously, and it's got a different breech seal arrangement to the TX. Although it's a clone of the TX and it's almost identical, the one major difference is the way the breech seal works. On here they've got a conical cone type breech seal, and at the end of the piston they have a cone shaped washer. I don't know if you can see those there. So I've actually managed to source two different ones. One's for an SMK, I think X78 or S78, and one I think is meant to be for a Diana. But they've got a similar conical cone and cone-shaped washer system. So I'm hoping that one of these fits. But we're going to take it apart and have a look. And because when I took it apart and serviced it on my first video, I was sort of unsure whether it was worn or not, but I'm gonna, for the sake of bearing in mind I'm taking it apart again, I'm gonna change the seal, and I might even change the piston seal as well. I've got a piston seal that might fit, and I've also got a Pro Sport piston seal that might fit. So we'll give it a go and see what happens. Okay, got the gun apart. I've got the stock bracket off. I'm not sure if you can see that, but the one on this one is the old one, and that hole is clearly bigger. On the other side it's less obvious, but now the old one's on the right, and you can sort of see it is slightly bigger hole. I've tried the stock screws in the new bracket, and they do screw in nice and snug. So the new stock bracket obviously will fit the old stock screws, so that's good. So yeah, I think it was just the old threads and holes in the old stock bracket seem to be worn away slightly and slightly elongated, so that, as I say, as I was nipping up the stock screws, they weren't really tightening up. So anyway, I've got the old one off, and I'm now about to put this one on the action, and it's just literally one Phillips screw that goes down. So it's nothing too technical. If I can get it there. So yeah, that's all it is. Just brought you in a bit closer. So I've had this soaking in warm water. So let's see if we can get it off. Well, there you go. So that's come off straight away, which is great. Now we'll see if we can get the new one on. Give that a wipe. Give it a quick spray. I use brake cleaner, carburetor cleaner, just as a good degreaser. This is actually quite clean because I've had this off a couple of times now. The cylinder's quite clean. So let's try and see. Oh, that one's too big. Okay, it's too big. So I can't use that one. Okay, plan B. Right, plan B. I thought this came out of a TX. Oh no, this came with the little cone seal off a SMK. So yeah, it is different. I just assumed it would fit, but obviously this has got the hole cut out, this hasn't. So that won't fit, but I'm hoping that the cone washer will. But I have got an old Pro Sports piston seal, so it looks in pretty good condition. So I'm going to try. This one does look a bit old. To be honest, I think there's one tiny little nick on it somewhere, and it feels a bit hard. This one feels a bit softer. I'm going to put that in hot water for a minute. So I'm going to try the Pro Sport one on here and see what happens. And it's just a matter of pushing where this one came off. You're going to push the new one on. So the hot water hopefully will soften it a little bit. Right, the warm water in here wasn't quite warm enough to soften the Pro Sport cylinder seal, so I've just boiled a little bit of water, and that's been sitting in there for a couple of minutes in just below boiling water. It's still steaming, so I'll just dry that off. Certainly feels a lot softer, and we'll see if we can get it on. Yeah, that's a lot easier. He says, there you go, that's on. Yep, so put that on. Just make sure it's nice and flush all the way around. So it's almost exactly the same. I'd say this one, the old one, the green one, is maybe 0.5 millimetre thicker, but they're almost the same. They got the same sort of, it's almost like they've got a sort of groove around the top of the seal, and that's got a groove around the top of the seal. So that went on there nice. It did need warming up to soften it. I couldn't get it on there when it was hard. But that looks okay. So I will keep this as a spare, because like I say, there is a tiny little nick just there. You probably can't even see it on camera. There's a tiny little nick. It's not really a hole or a split. And actually there's a little tiny dot. Just a sort of dot there, which again, it doesn't look like, it feels like maybe when it's manufactured, you know, where they cut it off of a sprue or something. But it's not actually damaged or anything, so I will keep that as a spare. Right, so we have put the new stock bracket on. We have put the new piston seal on. Now we've got to try and see how we get on with the breech cone seal. We'll have a look at the breech and see what that's doing. Let's get that there. I've decided just to put a bit of a thread locker on the stock bracket, just because I don't want it to come loose inside the action once the stock's on. So I will actually put some on. This is medium strength thread locker blue, so I'm going to just put that on the Phillips screw that holds the stock bracket on, just to make sure it doesn't come loose. Okay, so I've got the two cone seals, and you can see inside here, this is the conical or cone shaped breech. Now these look to me pretty similar, so I'm just going to put them on top of the breech just to see if one of them fits better than the other. Whoop. That fits on okay. Let's try this one. That one fits on okay as well. I don't know why that's not focusing. So they both seem to fit okay. So I'm gonna take the old one out and see what happens. So the old one is in there. If you can see that. It doesn't look too bad, but we'll give it a go. Okay, so I got the old one out. I initially tried with this little pick, and then I found it a bit easier with this straight pick, and I was literally getting it in the edge and levering, getting it in the edge and levering, and slowly by slowly it came out. So I'm going to give that another bit of carb cleaner. Just give that a good clean. And the inside, the end of the cylinder looks okay. It looks in pretty good condition. There's no digs, no dings, no scratches, no dents. And if you compare these, this is the old one, the sort of green one. These are ever so slightly bigger, but bear in mind that's been in there a while, so presumably it's been compressed a little bit. So again, I'm going to put that. I have noticed that this sort of darker one has got a slight nick, just a little nick, whereas the other one seems more on the sort of perfect fit. So I'm going to try the other one. I've got it in the hot water. Is this still hot? Yeah, it's still hot. So we'll leave it in there for a couple of minutes to soften, and then we'll see about getting it inside the cylinder. Okay, so I've taken the little cone washer out of the hot water, so it's a bit softer. And we'll push it in, try and push it in. Try not to damage. Trying to push down on it, make sure it's a nice fit all the way around. That's it, the new one is in. It seems to be a good fit actually, so I've now got the original and the spare. Yeah, went in okay. So, and as I say, I dry fitted that onto the breech and it seemed to fit okay, so hopefully we'll get a good seal. Okay, so the Bam40, I have changed the stock bracket, and it's holding the stock screws nice and tight now, and I've changed the breech seal and the cylinder breech seal, and it seems to be shooting consistent. So yeah, another little job done on the Bam40 TX200 Clone. Cheers, bye.